Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Ask a Knicks Fan, where I, DJ Eastwood of Run It Back Philly, a depressed, sad, and bored 76ers fan, talk to a Knicks fan about Sixers, Knicks, Eastern Conference, NBA Finals, and whatever else we want to talk about, man. This is my boy Andy. He's a Knicks fan. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button for us one time. That would be greatly appreciated. And be active in the chat, man. We'll do some Q&A in the chat, and we'll react to some chat comments as well. What's going on, Andy? How's it going, bro?
Life's good. Was better about a week ago, and then, well, actually 2 weeks ago. Things were rigged 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, let's start. I guess I just want to ask you, how do you feel right now about the New York Knicks after they lost in the fashion that they lost in to, of all teams, the Indiana Pacers? Because I'm pretty sure you were pretty confident going into the Pacers series, right?
Oh, yeah. So if you asked me, like, before the season began, how I would feel about making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, first time since 2000, honestly, I'd take that. I would gladly be like, you know what? That's positive movement, positive direction, and everything. And I would have thought that we'd lose to either the Cavs or the Celtics, probably Celtics. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? We keep moving, like we advance further than we ever have before. These are like good strides are being made. Then go into the playoffs. We beat even round one against the Pistons. We did not play to our best. I will be the first one to say that we shouldn't have had to sweat any of those games, and yet there we were, every single one of them, except for like maybe the last 8 minutes of the of game one when we went on that 21-0 run. Like every other game was a sweat. So other than that, so we win that series, go up against Boston, and then we play the best ball that I've seen out of the Knicks in my entire life. Like that whole series, honestly, was, to this day, I'm going to think about that for a long time coming because of the fact that we went in against the defending champs and came back down 20 twice.
Yeah.
So right after that, I'm thinking, you know what? We have the highway is right there. We got to go like full guns blazing. All we have to do is just get past Indy, and we're heading to the chip. Sure enough, we go right back to how we played round one. So,
what do you think? Maybe, dude, because the Detroit Pistons weren't like a slouch. That's a tough team. That could have been, that's one of those. What do they call it? A spoiler team. You know what I mean? That's a team with a lot of talent, a lot of physicality, a lot of young guys that are going to play hard, a lot of guys with a chip on their shoulder. And I could have seen them ruining, the playoffs for the Knicks. I was hoping they would, even though it was tough for me to root for Tobias Harris against, I couldn't decide who. But, I feel like the Pistons and the Pacers were the teams that like nobody was looking at. Everybody was looking at the Celtics, and the Celtics end up choking so hard, and you had the most trouble with the Pistons and the Pacers, man. That's pretty wild. I guess it's shout out to the Pacers. They've been underrated in every series they've been in this postseason. And then they took out the Cavs. Well, they took out the Bucks, they took out the Cavs, and they took out the Knicks. Man.
I'm trying to think if they were, because I don't know. I'm trying to think if they were underrated against the Bucks, because I feel like the narrative was that like the Bucks had too many injuries and didn't have
that's probably true
to actually stop them. But yeah, no, you're completely right as far as the fact that they won all three of the road games against the Cavs when the Cavs lost like 2 road games all season long. Besides that, like that's just crazy work.
Yeah, the Cavs choked so hard, man. I feel like the Cavs took. I feel like the Cavs took them light. Like Garland missed game 1, right? And they went down 1-0, and then they basically rested their whole team in game 2. And it was like, we'll just come back in game 3 and we'll get it together. Like the Pacers, they're deep. They got like 6, 7, 8 guys that can just score. Nemhard could step up, Neesmith could step up, Siakam, Halliburton. That team's really good, man, and they've been underrated the whole season. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I still was saying that the Knicks are gonna end up winning that series because I think of what I watched Jalen Brunson do against the Celtics. I was even admitting, I was like, this guy, I talk about the flopping all the time. I talk about all that stuff, but this guy, I was admitting this guy is insanely clutch when it comes down to it. He's gonna get it done. So I thought they were gonna do the same thing against Indiana, and it didn't happen, man. It is wild that they get there for the first time in 25 years and then they fire the coach. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know I want to ask you how you felt about Tom Thibodeau and what you think about him and if you agreed with that or not. Because obviously I'm not tapped into the Knicks fan base every day like that, so I don't really know how they felt about Tom Thibodeau. I know people were constantly on him about like minutes played and only playing 6 guys or something like that. But it's just still, I just still feel like from an outside perspective, you get there the first time in 25 years and you fire a coach. I just don't, that's insane to me.
Well, from an outside perspective, it's different than looking at it from a New York perspective because that's just what we do in New York. Like every one of our teams, honestly, I think Aaron Boone is probably the longest tenured New York coach or manager right now. Everyone else from like 2022, Daboll might be the second longest tenured. Everyone else has either been like hired or fired, and it's just been insane. Like the turnover in New York is bananas as far as coaching, but it does honestly it does make sense in a way, and it's kind of wild to say it. So as a Knicks fan, obviously I've watched nothing but rough ball the last 2 decades up until the COVID season. So right after COVID, that shortened 72 game season, that was like the first time that was Tibbs' first season. And right away, you can tell that like there's a different air about the team. Granted, it was like that was a lot more role players. We had Obi Toppin's first year. Randall really stepped up that year. That was the RJ and Quickly were making good moves that season. So right away, you can tell that Grimes had a great year. Like you can tell that there was just the air was different about the Knicks. And the next couple of years, save for 2022, the next couple of years they started to build more and more. But at the same time, they were doing that great during the regular season. If you look back, all 4 of Thibodeau's playoff runs with the Knicks, they lost to a team that they had home court over.
Wow.
2021, they lost. They were the 4th seed. They lost to the 5th seed Hawks. 2023, they were the 5 seed. They beat the 4th seeded Cavs, and then they lost to the 8th seed Heat. 2024, they were the 2nd seed. They beat the 7th seed Sixers, lost to the 6th seed Pacers, and then this past year, 2025, 3rd seed, they beat the 6th seed Pistons, then beat the 2nd seed
Cavs. Cavs were 1 seed? Celtics, I'm sorry. Pacers beat
Celtics.
the Cavs.
And then they lost to the 4th seed Pacers. So when you lose as the home seed 4 out of 5 years, like that has to be taken into account. And don't get me wrong, I will always appreciate Thibodeau for the fact that he changed the culture. Like, in no way do I want us to go back to the dark ages.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson. Signing Brunson is a massive. I always go back and forth in the NBA. Is the coach that much of a factor, or is it roster building? You know what I mean? I mean, signing Brunson is changed the culture also, or at least took them from. Made them something, and a guy that you can build around. So yeah, I guess it is time. So you feel like the Knicks with a coaching change can come back next year and get it done?
It depends. Now the real question is so I do understand Rose's idea of let's go and get a new fresh face, because obviously when you've been out-coached in a couple of different series over the course of the last couple of years, you're not going to win a championship that way. Like, you can't have this much talent and then still be losing to, if not the same teams, then just teams that you should be beating. So like if he hires the right person, then yes, there is that the window's still open. Hire the wrong person, and we're looking at another Thomas, Fisher, Fitzdale, like those days. Jeez.
Do you feel like I was correct in some of my takes when I said the Knicks overpaid a bunch of role players? When you look at the OG Anunoby contract, trading a massive amount of first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and they traded for Karl Anthony Towns. I thought the Towns trade put them over the top because I didn't think they had a second real solidified star, but on the team the year before. I thought getting that second star put them over the top.
Right.
But I guess Towns' defensive issues affected them. There was, some rumors that like players said things about his defensive intensity or whatever. But yeah, do you feel like they spent too much money and too many draft picks on players that aren't on players that are role players? Are they stuck? Are they like, where do they go from here if they want to change the roster? You know what I mean?
No, I get that. So isolated wise, like if you just look at the draft picks and the amount of money that was used to acquire those players and everything, like yes, it does look like they did overpay from a macro perspective. But there's also like around mid-July was when Brunson signed his extension, and he reworked his deal to take a pay cut in order to make sure that it fit. Like I remember back, it had to have been around like July 11th, 12th, somewhere around there, that he signed that deal. And right away, that basically showed that he is committed to the team bringing in as many role players, as many bench players as possible to make sure that it's a full-on team. That's not just like all hinges on him. Yeah. So I mean, like obviously as a sports fan in general, that's something that you want to have a captain. Like you want someone who's going to be like not like unselfish to say, you know what, I'll take less money to make sure my team gets a chance to win. So that in that aspect, yes. As far as the Bridges trade, all season long I've been critical of it. Like it's just the fact that he definitely did not look as advertised at first. Then I look back at the Celtics series, and I'll say from there, I'm like, you know what? When the time is right, when he's does what he can to absolutely like him and OG on defense, the two of them were just absolutely locked down on the wings. Like they were clamps. So at that point, when they're able to do clamps to, like I said, the defending champs, it's worth it. I don't care what the price is. And I'm not trying to have draft picks in the late 20s just because I've seen early draft picks.
True. Yeah.
Like I've lived through the days of the Kevin Knox and Frank Delicani. Shout
out Kevin Knox. But hey, you did mention Obi Toppin. He maybe he felt some type of way about being the guy that got the final two baskets. I think in Game 6 that ended it, right? An inbound. Yeah, that was a dunk.
I think so.
What do you did? So, dude, did the Nets really drive up the price on Mikal Bridges that high?
So I was thinking, like, I don't know what I still have yet to know what the Nets plan is. I'm still trying to figure it out because they're a team that, historically speaking, they either go all in, and we've seen it before with the KG, Paul Pierce. We've seen it with the KD and Kyrie signings with the James Harden trade. Yeah. And like trading for Ben Simmons. Like I feel like they just sort of go fly by night. And even like the year before they got KD and Kyrie, they put together like that was a role team. Yeah. That's when they played you guys in the first round.
Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. Exactly. They had some depth on that team.
Yeah, you're looking at I think their best player was deloading.
Yeah.
Like that was such a straight. They're just, I don't know. They stockpiled obviously a bunch of draft picks, but I've always considered draft picks are basically like they are lottery balls. You can hit on them, but at the same time, I mean, obviously the more you have, the better chances you have. But then you also have to develop the player. You have to make sure that they fit in the right systems. Yeah. That whatever happens, like, so if the Knicks have a chance to compete, go ahead and trade away as many draft picks as possible because I want a chip right now. The 19, 20, 21-year-old that we draft that's going to be sitting on the bench isn't going to help us win a championship right now. Or even like, I think, I forget who it was. I think the GM from either the GM or the president of the Suns back in the day when like years ago when the Suns went, they were like contending. He was saying like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old isn't going to help us win a chip right now.
Yeah, no, I understand when you put it that way. I mean, it sounds like a lot of draft picks, but when you put it that way, if it was the player that puts you over the top and you win a championship, then and then you continue to contend at a high level for those 4 or 5 years, then it's not that big of a deal, like you said, because they're going to be late first round draft picks anyway.
Exactly.
But it's just a lot for a guy that's a 3-and-D, role player. I think they felt like he was an up and coming star. I think Brooklyn did a ridiculous job of like that season where when KD and Kyrie left right at the trade deadline, right? What happened? They both got traded, right? They both got traded at the deadline.
Yes.
And then Bridges was just shooting the ball the second half of the season, and they got swept by the Sixers in the playoffs. And I remember I called that sweep because I was like, dude, the Nets aren't in the playoffs because of this team they have now. They're in the playoffs because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were on the team the first half of the year. And they're not as good. They're not good. And the Sixers swept them of all teams. But yeah, dude, they just sold Bridges so high because he was averaging like 27 points a game, and it looked like he had games where he looked like a mini Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Do you think maybe he is? You think he has a lot more offensive potential, and a new coach can get that more out of him?
So, for a good stretch, when Brunson went down, sometime I think it was like around March this season. It had to have been March. Brunson goes down, and Bridges, I was texting my friends. I was like, look, I'm calling upon him right now. He has to step up, be like at least averaging 20-something a game. I think he barely hit that cusp if I look back at the numbers from those games, because he did he didn't step up as the like true number one scorer. He still played his solid D, but at the same time, yeah, they definitely had the numbers inflated. There's also obviously the component that is most talked about. It's just the the connection that he had with Brunson and Hart, the Nova connection. So that was definitely a major role in it. At the time, also Devo was still in the mix, but that lasted until September.
Do you think are you anticipating any big change for the Knicks this offseason? You know what I mean? I was listening to NBA radio this morning, and Brian Scalabrine, and not, he's just a guy that says things, but Brian Scalabrine, he's fun to listen to. I listen to him every morning, taking my son to school. But he was talking about Brunson's relationship with Tom Thibodeau and how the Knicks organization could have pissed off Jalen Brunson by doing this. And Brunson could ask for a trade.
Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans on that. So, there's definitely the only one now. I don't even want to entertain that, just because of the fact that Brunson came in, obviously came in, signed with the team. He didn't sign with the coach. The only one that I would even consider feeling some type of way about this trade would be Cat. And even then, I'm still thinking Cat, after Thibodeau left the Wolves, right before we traded for him, he started to actually get going there.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I don't know. It's Brian Scalabrine. Take it with a grain of salt.
Any major roster changes at all that you see? Do you think that Karl Anthony Towns could get traded? Do you think that there's anything internally with the talk about his defense and maybe something like that with the team? And I'm just trying to create some drama here. But do you think the Knicks do anything drastically this offseason, or is it just the coaching change and they try to bring the same team back?
So I'm on the fence about it, because I've seen a lot of murmurings about Giannis. I keep seeing there's rumors that either Toronto's looking at him.
Dude, Brunson and Giannis.
And for him, I would think that Cat would be trade away. There's no way we can run out Brunson, Cat, and Giannis. I say this while it would be insane to watch them, it would be basically watching the Phoenix Suns, how they were the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna score a bunch when they're all playing, but even when they all play defensively, holy crap! It's going to be every game take the over. I mean, you might as well just like go
Well,
ahead.
Giannis is a former defensive player of the year, right? I don't know. I don't know if recently he's played a whole lot of defense. I know Halliburton's game-winning layups were just right in Giannis's grill, so I don't know. Maybe Giannis doesn't guard the rim anymore.
Oh no,
Um,
He used to be like great defensively, but I called it about what like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that
yeah,
his body he's in his now 30s. It's not going to be. He is not holding up.
he
Like
is 30.
yeah, exactly. He's on the wrong. He's going to be on the wrong side of 30 next year, and his body isn't going to be able to do what it used to. Like, and it's not disparaging. It's just an unfortunate fact that life does come at a toll. He played such like just great ball in general. Like he was so fun to watch for years, and now you can see already the injuries start to mount up for the guy.
Yep. Father Time is undefeated, and Giannis doesn't have a jump shot, so he's not going to age too gracefully. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like a 7-foot Russell Westbrook, if you will. You know what I mean? As soon as the athleticism slows down, what's he got? He still has it now, but dude, it's not going to be. I mean, it's not going to be a Kevin Durant where he's 37 and he's still probably going to get another extension because he's that good at shooting the ball off the dribble that his athleticism can decline, and he's still insanely effective. A guy like Giannis, dude, when he slows down, it's gonna kind of be over. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And it's a shame because, like I said, he was the first half of his career, like I think right up until 2021 when he won the Finals MVP, won the chip. Like there were stats that people were putting up about him that were saying that he was on a like superstar trajectory, that he had accomplished like back-to-back MVPs, and from there, like you think like right after that, the next season, as soon as they lost to the Celtics, it started to begin to decline for him. And it's a shame because yeah, he was really fun for
Well,
years.
he's definitely gonna get traded. I mean, this is the perfect time, for him to want to get traded. This is the perfect time for him to get traded. He's still gonna have insane value because he's only 30, and so like I said, in my opinion, he's gonna have 3, 4, 5 more years at a high level athleticism as long as he stays healthy. And then I would see a pretty quick decline because, like I said, he doesn't have that perimeter game that's going to age too well. But at least he's 30 and not 35. You know what I mean? So I think
Right.
Giannis is definitely still a superstar. I think he gets traded to a team and probably reminds everybody, what he did, and maybe has a little bit of a spark of energy with a new. They say sometimes you need to change the scenery, but it's also interesting because I feel like Giannis is kind of the one that imploded the Bucks. There was like all the rumors that he pressured them to make a big trade, and they traded for Dame. And there's rumors that he pressured them to fire what was his name that was coaching the team that they were like they were like 30-13 to start the season, and he got fired. Or then they hired
Yeah.
Doc Rivers. But either way, I see Giannis probably going to what team would you say if you had to take a total guess? I'm thinking Durant to Houston, and I'm thinking Giannis dude, I want to say San Antonio, but that would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can. It's tough because like it depends on whichever
Or New
team.
York. Or New York.
And I keep thinking like if he goes somewhere, he's probably gonna go somewhere that has like young talent that he would be either their budding like number one or number two. I'm not gonna lie, I could also see him in a really like bizarre situation. Honestly, send him to Dallas. Let's see an absolutely like bonkers team of him, Flag, and
AD and Kyrie.
well, AD will be like coming off the bench at that point. Kyrie and Clay. Like honestly, that team would be the stupidest. Like for no reason, that would be an absolutely fun team to watch, and it would just be so like ridiculously lucky of Dallas fans to just get that after they trade away Luka. They
Yeah.
get like the absolute horseshoe that they found in their ass after all that shit. Like,
All right. Let's talk about it, because I made the title of this video something specific for a reason. And then I had a tweet a couple hours ago, and agree or disagree with my tweet. And I said, all things considered, the 76ers are better than the New York Knicks right now.
well, right now we don't have a coach, so God's there. As far as coaches, we're 1-0. So
All
now,
things considered.
all things considered, disagree. You're still stuck with until you make the moves that you either get rid of one or the other of PG or of Embiid, because either one or the other, like one is going to stay, the other one goes. If both stay, then yeah, no, it's completely like there's no way. There's no way they're going to be both healthy. You can need to get a combined 76 games out of both of them combined.
Dude, remember that clip from oh man, who was it? Evan Turner on like a podcast with Andre Iguodala, and he was like, man,
Yes.
if PG and Embiid get on the same team, Embiid's going to be out the whole season, and Paul's going to be Pauldo, and it's going to be the worst combination of superstars you've ever seen. And he was absolutely on the money. But no, what I'm doing, I think, is as I get closer to the draft, I'm allowing the 76ers to lie to me once again. It's like I just can't help it, dude. I actually start to slowly believe it, but it's because I'm forced to believe it. I have no choice but to believe it, you know. And if Embiid and Paul George are healthy, they are a championship contender. It's just that if they're healthy, but if they are healthy, they are a championship contender. Yes, you got to say yes to that. Joel Embiid, MVP, the championship contender.
The thing is, so I would say so like 3 years ago, by all means. Like if we're looking at PG and Embiid 3 years ago or 2 years ago when Embiid won the MVP, like that was pretty much his peak. That was like PG was still had health somewhat on his side. Now I can't get over the fact because PG's been in the league for how long? Like his leg injury, I think the major one they missed all of 2014-15, that was 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yep.
So he's been playing off of that. He's had other injuries. He's up there in age.
But he did play 74 games for the Clippers the year before he signed with the Sixers.
Oh,
and,
no, I know.
was the only one that lasted through the playoffs. Kawhi got hurt again. He was the only one that lasted through the playoffs. He didn't show up in the playoffs. He was still Paul George when it mattered the most. He was still the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's when it came down to it in the playoffs. But he played 74 games for the Clippers that year. The next year, he sprains his freaking knee in the preseason. Like, it's just so Sixers, dude, to get a guy that just played 74 games and he can't even make it through the preseason. And then he got like 15 injuries in 40 games. And it's just that, like, the way that the Sixers organization is talking to the fans about it is like, hey, we just had a bunch of injuries. We're all going to be healthy now. But we're like, what are the odds that it was just we had a bunch of injuries? You know, if he wasn't 35, I would believe that. If he was 29, I would believe that. But what I'm saying is, and you're now convincing me otherwise, but at least today I was convincing myself that we are going to get lucky and Joel Embiid and Paul George are going to be healthy. And I'm still standing on it. If Joel Embiid and Paul George are healthy, you said Joel Embiid's peak was 3 years ago, but that's only because he's not healthy, right?
Exactly.
Right. So if healthy, they are the best team in the East.
Now, here's where I have another
yes or no
idea. So in a hypothetical situation where you do trade one or the other way, then the thing is also you're looking at two players to come back from injury, two players in their 30s to come back fully from injury and be able to be like that also have had injury concerns for a while now. Now, if one of them comes back, yes, it is possible that one of them comes back and you already have you do have a better depth. I'll grant that completely. Obviously, Maxey, now the Grimes trade bugs the shit out of me because I loved him on the Knicks. Now I have to see him in Philly. Then also and you still have the number 3 pick to work with. Like you can easily do a lot. You got a lot of cooking from there. That being said, if you trade one or the other and get a return, there is possible, depending on the return, you could easily be back in the fold of this year was just a fluke year. I completely agree. You could be right back in the rotation, considering that you don't know what's going to happen as far as the Knicks coaching is concerned. You don't know what's going to happen with the Celtics without Tatum. The Cavs, who knows what they're going to do now that they've been ousted from the playoffs in 3 straight years that I feel like they should have been I think the pressure is starting to mount on them. So like there are other teams. I mean the Magic were supposed to take a step up. It didn't really feel like they took a step up. I think actually they took a step back this past year.
They all got hurt again too, man. They were cooking for a while, and then Paolo tore his oblique or whatever, and then I think even Wagner tore his oblique too. Something with the obliques in Orlando. But yeah,
it was just like as far as I thought their bench would definitely step up because they spent a bunch of
and they lost point guard tore his ACL.
No,
Jaden Ivey. No, Jaden Ivey, or is that Detroit?
No, Jaden Ivey. Well, he was with Detroit. Did he go there?
I don't know. I forget his name.
He was a Detroit draft pick years ago. But like outside of that, I mean, yeah, the rest of the East. I mean, outside of the Pacers, who knows how long they're going to keep their magnet ball devil magic going? Who knows what the hell is going to happen with the Heat? I mean, there were talks of the Heat possibly going after
Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, he was cooking the Sixers in the one game, and then they tore his ACL a couple games later. Jalen Suggs. Thank you for that. Digital print house. So you feel like the Sixers definitely have to trade one of Paul George or Joel Embiid?
I think the conversation to trade Embiid had to have it should have started after last year. Like to get maximum value for him, especially after the Harden trade and everything, they should have said, "All right, we're gonna build around Maxey," because Maxey showed in the playoffs last year that he was like the blossoming true number one. Any Knicks fan that was watching that game, I'm not gonna lie, I was more concerned.
Oh yeah, he was cooking
when Maxey got the ball than when Embiid got it. As soon as Embiid got it, I was like, all right, just lock him down. Like we're fine there. As soon as Maxey had it, crap. Like there goes. All right, just
Embiid did average 30, 10, and 6 in that series right off of knee surgery. And he didn't show up in the big games again. I agree with you on that. Average isn't everything. The guy that really shit the bed was what we all saw coming, Tobias Harris, man. The guy absolutely just sucks when it matters the most, man. But yeah, I mean, it's tough with the Sixers and the trade Embiid thing because I've agreed with it before. I agree with it because I'm just tired of seeing it. I'm seeing the same thing every year. I'm seeing Joel Embiid's going to be healthy, and if he is, we're going to win a championship. And every year, dude, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I love what he did for Philadelphia. I think he's the most skilled person that size I've ever seen. I think his career should be remembered for the skill that he had and his historic stat lines that he had. If he never gets it done in the playoffs, but I'm just tired of watching it. I'm tired of the same thing every offseason, hoping that he's healthy. So I'm ready to move on. But the thing with trading Embiid is that, like, if he's not healthy, you can't trade him because I don't think he has that much trade value at this point, especially because he played 17 games last year. If he is healthy, you have a chance to win, so you're not going to trade him either.
Oh yeah, no, it's truly a double-edged sword. I completely understand because of exactly what you said. Like that's why I thought that after last year when he did come back healthy and he was putting up numbers in the playoffs, that was the perfect time. All right, trade him before, like get a jump start on the retooling at that point. It wouldn't be a rebuild; it would just be a retool. But the fact that now this year he barely played, his tank value or his trade value tanked. So yeah, I completely understand that aspect, and I do also understand that's basically what what I thought the Clippers were doing with PG, because it was convenient for them to trade George right after he finally has a full season. Yeah. Like the man finally played an entire season, and then they trade him. Yeah, everyone knew that was because that's the best time for them to trade him. Whoever I was afraid that he would come to the Knicks last year. I was honestly like thinking that crap. If we get him, we were going to have to cough up Hart. We were going to have to cough up Deuce McBride. We were going to have to cough up something, and that would come back to bite us because I knew full well this guy's a ticking time bomb.
Well, dude, it's up for the Sixers this year, man. I mean, I say this every year, but if these guys aren't healthy this upcoming season, it's a wrap for them because this fan base is out on this team. This fan base has been out on this team pretty much all last season. But the process and all this stuff, man, like they're gonna need a major change. I agree with you. They should have made a major change already. They waited way too long. Daryl Morey still believes in all the moves that he made and the Paul George signing and stuff. But I'm holding on to a little bit of hope because I'm a crazy person. that if healthy, they are a championship contender. It's just if I'm making Sixers logos, I think that just say if healthy. That's going to be what I wear the whole season. But I'm predicting, honestly, like if I had to realistically predict it outside of trolling and making clickbait, dude, they might start this next season like 5-20, and then Nick Nurse gets fired and Daryl Morey gets fired and everybody gets fired, and then all Sixers fans will be like, yeah, we told you guys to do this 2 years ago, but in true Sixers fashion, you wait too long. You wait until the building burns itself down when you should have burned it down yourself. You know what I mean? But that's where I'm stuck at. I have to believe, man, if healthy, and I don't think there's a way to trade Embiid at this point, and there's definitely no way to trade Paul George at this point. So the Sixers are stuck, but if healthy, they're winning a championship next year. Hey, let's talk about Quentin Grimes for a second, man, because when we were talking about Mikal Bridges. Do you feel like, because you watch Quentin Grimes in New York and then he goes to Detroit, and do you feel like, I guess I have like a 3-part question. Do you feel like Quentin Grimes didn't get enough of an opportunity in New York? And then do you feel like or do you feel like what he did in Philly was just because the team was tanking and he was getting a lot of shot opportunities at the end of a season? You know what I mean? And third part of the question, I guess, is should the Sixers sell high on Quentin Grimes much like the Brooklyn Nets sold high on Mikal Bridges? You know what I mean?
All right, so starting off from the rip, as I said before, like when he started with the Knicks, it was a team that was starting to like finally basically was retooled, rebuilt, had to build up from the ground up. That was the Julius Randle days, the RJ Barrett days, and he was an underrated player that we can get good minutes out of, get good production. Like certain nights when he was on, he was on. Honestly, at that point, there were times that if he was on and one or the other of RJ and Randall were off, then I was like, look, just feed Grimes, feed Quick, feed Toppin, like feed all of them. And sure enough, we did so. Like he was great, honestly, very productive off the bench. If we started him, I think we started him a couple of times in 2021, 22. And those were times where I'm thinking like, crap, we need more bodies, like actual bodies. Like when we look back at the teams of 22, 23, and 23, 24, it may have seemed like the Knicks had a bunch of role players. 21, 22 was when you could really say, yeah, definitively that was the role player year.
Yeah.
That was the year of the Cam Reddish, like it was just, yeah, it was. So he is a great player off the bench. I would still say, like looking back, he was given good opportunities and he did produce for us off the bench. Now we needed Bogdanovich down the stretch in 23, 24, so we made the trade. It sucks seeing him go, but that did also open a pathway for Deuce McBride because he was eating McBride's minutes.
Yeah.
That gave McBride a good opportunity, and also that gave him an opportunity to get more minutes because he was playing on one of the worst Pistons team ever. So he got like plenty of opportunity there. Then he goes to you guys, gets plenty of opportunity there. So in a way, to answer your question, like he did have some opportunity with the Knicks when he was given more minutes. Like it didn't work out because usually it was just that he's a player, like the perfect bench player, where you can't start him because if you start him, that's a red flag for the whole team. If he does produce a lot, either he's on that night, which by all means, keep feeding him if he's on, or he is not going to be produced. Like then the rest of your team is not producing, and it's either one or the other. It's either he's on and the rest of the team is like, you know what, they're doing good. That may be just a one-off night that they're struggling. Or if that's a trend where like he's producing more than the rest of your team, then you got to address the rest of your team. What the hell's going on? You're being outscored by a bench guy.
Yeah.
So and at that point, I guess like as far as your last question concerned, if you can find a good suitor that you can like fleece off of it, hey, go for it. You can find other bench players. There's no shortage of them. But he is a good bench player, so you got to make sure you find the good one. And then also, you got to make sure the value is worth it. If you trade him and it's just like you trade him just for the sake of trading him, but you don't get someone good in return to replace him, then at that point, it's like you just wasted you had a good bench player that you just waste away.
See,
And
but this is the thing. This is why I'm asking you this, because with the way that he was scoring at the end of the season, and I'm guilty of it too, Sixers fans aren't even looking at him as a bench player. Sixers fans are looking at him as a young up-and-coming star in the league, and they absolutely can't let him go because at 24 years old, to put up some of those stat lines on the efficiency that he was doing it, you know what I mean? Maxey was out here shooting 10%. Tyrese Maxey, who we love, was out here chucking bricks every night all season. Grimes was out here shooting high efficiency, 25 points, 35 points, 45 points, 40, 38, 36. Like, it was wild what he was doing, and it wasn't like, yeah, he was playing on a team full of scrubs at the time, but he wasn't playing against scrubs, you know what I mean? So I think I don't know what to think about Grimes, man, but I just think that I think he might be more than a bench player. I know you watched him in New York. Maybe he developed when he went to Dallas, maybe just the playing time, maybe something he you know, his potential came out. Or maybe he was just shining on a team that didn't have anybody at the time, and maybe he is a bench player. But the reason I've been saying the Sixers should trade Grimes is because I think it's a little bit of a logjam for them with Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and I'm already tired of these small ball lineups. And Grimes is what, 6'3", 6'4"? I think Grimes is 6'4". I just need if you're gonna play Maxey McCain, I need a guy that's like 6'7", 6'8" at the small forward. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's tough, and I think Grimes is in a situation where he probably feels like, especially from a business standpoint or a personal brand standpoint, he probably feels like, I just did what I did at the end of that season. I earned starting minutes on a team somewhere, and I earned a contract. The Sixers can match any contract because of the bird rights, but I think he's gonna, you know, it might be a situation where, like, I don't know how that works. I don't know if a player would go to a team and be like, listen, you know, I thank you for the opportunity. I know you have my bird rights, but I would appreciate it if we worked out a sign and trade because I want to be a starter on a team somewhere, and with Paul George, Embiid, Maxey, McCain, and everybody, I'm not going to get starter minutes. Do you think they could do something like that and end up signing and trading him?
Oh, 110% agree. I could definitely see that mainly off the fact that, like you said, you have Embiid and George coming back, and you're obviously Maxey. You got as your best small, but you also have to hope that if you got Grimes winding up stealing minutes from McCain, that's a really not great look for McCain. If he's losing out to Grimes, and also that just for the FO also, you just burned a first round pick on a guy that's losing out to another person that you wound up just grabbing as a complete like sneaky low key trade. So you got to wind up like, I could definitely see a move where he himself has valued, or his value is like higher, that he can say, you know what, put me on a team. And honestly, he can go to one of those teams that's like middle of the pack, where either they're middle of the pack or they just like, they were garbage and now they're starting to build up something. And he could be that player to help build them. So I could see a trade where he goes to, I don't know if Chicago has the room for him. I could maybe see him alongside LaMelo down in Charlotte. But there are options. I could see him being moved somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's like, dude, if it depends what he gets offered. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's in like the $20 million range. I've seen reports of like rumors of like 20 to 25 a year. Like it's all going to come down to what teams think of that like final stretch that he had, where he was scoring like a NBA star. You know. So, but if it's like 20 or 25, they're not going to match that. I don't think, because again, you would be bringing him off the bench, and you're not going to pay that much money for a guy coming off the bench. If you do, and he wants to, if the Sixers have Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes coming off the bench, and they're starting Maxey, Justin Edwards, whoever they draft at 3, maybe Ace Bailey off the bench. But either way, if they keep Grimes somehow, some way, and he doesn't ask for a sign and trade or something, and Joel Embiid and Paul George are healthy, Sixers are the best team in the East next year.
Yeah, no, if everything breaks right for the Sixers, yeah, they have something. The problem
You agree.
if everything breaks right, like
best
sure,
team in the East next year.
Line. if the planets align and by some stretch of imagination this all works out, yeah, you know what? I'll be the first to admit, all right, you got me there. I'm gonna hate it, but I'll be like, whatever, fine.
But the
That
odds
being
of it
said,
happening, the
oh
odds
yeah,
of it happening are.
yeah, that's like you might as well put like what's it called, play the Powerball at that point.
All right, so yo, Mufasa Sports Club, man, thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Why not start Grimes if he comes back and bring McCain off the bench in a similar role like Peyton Pritchard in Boston? Grimes brings more size and defense next to Maxey. Yeah, I just think, yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. It's tough. I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make a decision. Yeah, I don't think they all three can play together. But Nick Nurse is insane. Nick Nurse was playing lineups of Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Reggie Jackson in 2025, man.
Yeah.
These are 3 40-year-old guys that are 5'11" and can't run. Like, it was just... So there's that, too, with Sixers fans and Nick Nurse, and I don't even know what he's going to do. We can talk about what makes sense about as far as lineups and things, but then Nick Nurse will come out and just do some wild stuff. I could see him playing Maxey, McCain, and Grimes in the same lineups and getting cooked on the boards. And but I don't know, man. It's tough. But on the Nick Nurse topic, man, with the whole Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau, how do you think Nick Nurse has survived? Because in Philly he lost in the first round to the Knicks. Well, we can go back to like Brett Brown. Brett Brown never got out of the second round. Doc Rivers never got out of the second round. Then we hire Nick Nurse. He does even worse. He loses in the first round to the Knicks. And then the next year, he tanks and doesn't even make the playoffs. How does Nick Nurse still have a job if a guy like Tom Thibodeau that took a team to an Eastern Conference Finals got fired? You know what I mean?
So I think it's the fact that obviously, it's going to be the easiest answer, but injuries. I'm going to say that he banked off of, he went to the front office and said, look, they were injured all year. I didn't get a chance to work with both of them. Give me a chance to work with those two. Give me a chance to work with because I'm sure also he's probably using Grimes production towards the end, because otherwise if they had just completely tailspin all the way down and lost every game the rest of the way, sure, that's one thing. But he's gonna probably talk about the fact that he, even while starting players that the aforementioned Lowry minutes, where the lineups look like something that you cook in NBA 2K15 after you sim the game 10 years down the road, and it's oh cool, they're all together now, great. But no, it literally he basically had to have gone into the front office and said, look, they were injured all year, give me one more year to work with them. And that's why it all hinges on this year. If everything works out and he has that healthy team to work with and he can propel them the next level, then by all means, it works out. Clearly, you get a chip, everything works. Anytime that you get a championship, it's all worth it. The problem is, if you don't get that championship, you then have to deal with the repercussions.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm feeling good about it, man. I think, listen, if they find a way to re-sign Grimes, and Justin Edwards was undrafted, and he was kind of a diamond in the rough at the end of the season, and they get everybody back healthy, and Jared McCain had a torn meniscus, and he comes back healthy, and they get a high draft pick, and dude, it's looking like they could be deep, man. So I as much as I hate them, and I have bad feeling about them every season, especially with the if healthy situation on Joel Embiid and Paul George, I'm starting to feel good about the Sixers' depth, man. I am, and I think that the Sixers are in a good situation if healthy. And I think the New York Knicks have more problems than you think they do.
Like I said, it all depends on who they hire as their coach, what kind of system he wants to roll out, and if they do make a big swing. If they do, then that's going to be it's basically where we're then in the same boat, because at that point the window shortens. Whatever move the Knicks make, either it shortens, or if for some reason the Knicks are able to bring in younger talent and somehow get a coach that brings in a bench mentality, Tyler Kolek just starts really going off at that point. Hey, by all means. But then also that's the crazy thing about the East next year. Even though the finals hasn't finished yet, I still say next year's East is going to be wide open. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell the Pacers have done, but I can't fully buy into them being like a perennial contender. The Celtics, like I said, they lost Tatum, so they've now dropped all the way back down to earth because
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about the Tatum Achilles, man. Yeah,
yeah,
the Celtics.
he's out next
The
year.
Celtics are in big trouble, man. There's a lot of, I mean, people think they're going to make major moves this offseason, not just because of the Tatum thing, but because of their
The
cap
cap.
situation also.
Oh yeah, no, that it's they are really gonna have to like wheel and deal just to be able to be back in the conversation there. The Cavs, like I said, they have to have something like there's got to be something mental there because you can't have the early exits that they've had the last 3 years. Granted, last year was to the Celtics, but that was also like there was an injury-prone season or injury-prone playoffs for them. And
Yeah.
just in general, like I don't know. I keep looking at the East and saying it's still wide open. There's so many
Yeah.
teams that have so much potential.
I think so too. Yeah. I think it's the Celtics for at least a couple years were looked at as a juggernaut and the unbeatable team, and now it's like now it's yeah. I don't think. I mean, they're obviously not probably going to be a contender next year, unless they skate by and Tatum comes back at the end of the year. But an Achilles is normally longer than that. You know what I mean? And a guy who's only 27 doesn't want to rush back from an Achilles tear. So I would think Tatum's going to take the whole year and then come back at some point this season after that.
even
So
if he
yeah, I
comes
agree.
back- Even if he comes back in the playoffs, like he won't be playing 100%. Plus, at that point, you need to hope that like you get a high seed, and if he's not 100%, then yeah, the team is
I wouldn't rush him back at all, man. I
no.
wouldn't even bring him back in the playoff. I don't even. They might not even make the playoffs, which is again, Jaylen Brown is going to get the maxi treatment next season if the Celtics don't make the playoffs. Like you got to, especially being a $300 million. I think he was the highest paid player in the NBA before the Tatum extension. But yeah, I think Jaylen Brown's going to get exposed a little bit next season. Because I don't think he's that level of player. Yeah, man, this was fun, bro. Thanks for coming through.
Of course.
Yeah, we could do this. We could do this like once a week, bro. If you want to do that, we could bring probably Steph on and talk shit about the Celtics to Steph, and we can do that, man. I think that'll be fun for the off season. I'm just trying to cook up some ideas for the off season, keep it going, keep myself entertained, keep the people engaged. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for coming through. We'll call this Ask a Knicks Fan, man. And yeah, thanks for coming through. Shout out to everybody in here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being active in the chat. And we will catch you on the next edition of Ask a Knicks Fan. Thanks, Andy.
No problem. Thank you, everyone.